My ex-wife walked into my startup office with her new billionaire husband's lawyers, ready to buy my struggling company and personally fire me. She smiled as she sat down across from me. I've been waiting for this moment for 3 years. I looked defeated, nodded slowly, let her enjoy it. Then the conference room door opened and 12 corporate attorneys walked in, my attorneys, representing the conglomerate I actually owned. Her smile vanished. "What's going on?" she demanded. I leaned forward. "While you were trying to buy my R&D subsidiary, my holding company just completed a hostile takeover of your husband's entire firm. As of 9 minutes ago, I own his company, his assets, and yes, the house you're living in. You have 30 days to vacate." This is the story of how my ex-wife tried to destroy me and accidentally destroyed herself instead. My name is Marcus, and 3 years ago, I went through the ugliest divorce imaginable. My ex-wife, Vanessa, had married me when I was building my first tech company. Back then, I was a struggling entrepreneur working 18-hour days, barely making rent. She tolerated it for 2 years. Then my company started succeeding. We became comfortable. Not wealthy, but stable. That's when she got bored. "I didn't marry you to be comfortable," she said during one of our final fights. "I married you because I thought you were going to be somebody." 6 months later, she filed for divorce, met someone better within weeks. Richard Thornton, real estate developer, new money, the kind of guy who wore expensive suits and talked loudly about his net worth at parties. The caption on one photo, "Finally living the life I always deserved. #upgrade complete." It stung. Not because I wanted her back, but because she was so publicly gleeful about trading up. What she didn't know, I was already building something much bigger than she could imagine. After the divorce, I threw myself into work. The company Vanessa knew about, the one we'd built during our marriage, I sold to a larger firm for $8 million. She got half in the divorce settlement, $4 million. She thought she'd won. What she didn't know, I'd been quietly building a second company for years, a holding company called Apex Ventures that owned equity in 12 different tech startups. I'd structured it carefully. The operating companies appeared independent, small teams, modest offices, focused R&D projects, but they all rolled up to Apex Ventures, and I owned 87% of Apex. Total portfolio value, approximately $340 million. One of those subsidiaries was called Innovate Labs, a small AI research company with an office in a converted warehouse and a team of 20 engineers. On paper, Innovate Labs looked like a scrappy startup barely surviving, modest revenue, high burn rate, always looking for the next funding round. In reality, Innovate Labs was the R&D arm of Apex's AI infrastructure. We weren't trying to be profitable. We were building foundational technology that would power the other 11 companies. I worked out of the Innovate Labs office most days, jeans and a hoodie, hands-on with the engineering team, no executive trappings. To anyone looking from the outside, I was just another startup founder grinding away at a small company. Vanessa saw the LinkedIn updates. Marcus Chen, founder, Innovate Labs. She saw the warehouse office. She probably thought I was struggling. That's exactly what I wanted her to think. 2 weeks ago, I got a call from my corporate attorney. "Marcus, someone's been asking questions about Innovate Labs, running due diligence, checking incorporation documents, looking at financials." "Who?" "A firm representing Richard Thornton, your ex-wife's husband." I felt my pulse quicken. "Are they looking to invest?" "Looks like they're preparing a buyout offer. Hostile acquisition. They want to buy the company and probably restructure leadership." Translation, they wanted to buy my company and fire me. I smiled. "Let them proceed. Don't block anything." My attorney was confused. "You want them to attempt to take over?" "Absolutely. In fact, make it easy for them. Don't reveal the Apex connection. Let them think Innovate Labs is an independent, struggling startup." "Marcus, what are you planning?" "Just trust me, and quietly start preparing paperwork for the Thornton Real Estate Group counter-acquisition we discussed last month." 3 days later, I received a formal meeting request. Richard and Vanessa wanted to present a buyout offer in person. I accepted. The day of the meeting, Vanessa arrived at the Innovate Labs office wearing a designer dress that probably cost more than my entire team's monthly coffee budget. Richard was with her, along with 2 corporate attorneys. I met them in our small conference room, nothing fancy, just a table and some chairs in a warehouse office. Vanessa looked around with barely concealed disdain. "So this is what you've been doing for 3 years? This warehouse?" "We're a lean operation," I said mildly. Richard jumped in, all business. "Marcus, we'll cut to the chase. We're prepared to offer $12 million for Innovate Labs. That's a generous valuation given your current burn rate and revenue situation." I pretended to consider it. "That's interesting. Can I ask why the interest?" Vanessa couldn't help herself. "Because we see potential that you clearly can't execute on. This company needs real leadership, real capital, real vision." "And you think you can provide that?" Richard nodded. "We're prepared to restructure the leadership team. You'd be offered a consulting role for 6 months to ensure smooth transition, then we'd part ways." Translation, they were going to fire me from my own company. Vanessa was practically glowing. She'd been waiting for this moment, the chance to save my struggling company and then push me out. "That's quite an offer," I said quietly, playing the part of the defeated entrepreneur who knows he's cornered. "We know," Vanessa said. "Take it, Marcus. It's more than this place is worth." "Let me review the paperwork," I said, reaching for the buyout documents. Just as my hand touched the folder, the conference room door opened. 12 people walked into our small conference room. Corporate attorneys in expensive suits, senior partners from major firms. One of them was carrying a briefcase with the Apex Ventures logo. Vanessa and Richard looked confused. "What's going on?" Richard demanded. "This is a private meeting." The lead attorney, Patricia Morrison, smiled. "Actually, Mr. Thornton, this meeting just became significantly more complicated. I represent Apex Ventures and its subsidiaries. Mr. Chen, thank you for accommodating us on short notice." "Of course," I said, my tone shifting from defeated to confident. "Please, have a seat." Vanessa was staring at me. "Marcus, what is this?" I leaned back in my chair. "This is the part where I explain some things about corporate structure that you clearly didn't research before attempting a hostile takeover." Patricia opened her briefcase and distributed documents to Richard and his attorneys. "What you're looking at," she explained, "is the ownership structure of Innovate Labs. You'll notice that Innovate Labs is wholly owned by a holding company called Apex Ventures." Richard's attorney was speed reading. His face went pale. "And if you flip to page 3, Patricia continued, you'll see that Apex Ventures owns controlling interest in 12 operating companies, with a combined valuation of approximately $340 million. The room went silent. "And Marcus is the majority shareholder and CEO of Apex Ventures. Innovate Labs isn't a struggling startup. It's a research and development subsidiary of a multi-hundred-million-dollar conglomerate." Vanessa was shaking her head. "That's impossible. Marcus sold his company 3 years ago. I got half of the proceeds." "You got half of his first company," I interrupted. "I sold that company and used the capital to build Apex, which was founded after our divorce. None of it is marital property." Richard found his voice. "Fine, so Innovate Labs isn't independent. That doesn't change our offer. We're still prepared to buy it." I smiled. "You can't afford it. The technology Innovate Labs has developed is worth approximately $80 million in current valuation. Your offer of $12 million is insulting." "Then we'll walk away," Vanessa said, standing up. "Come on, Richard, this was a waste of time." "Sit down," I said quietly. "We're not done." Patricia pulled out another folder. Mr. Thornton, are you aware that Apex Ventures has been acquiring shares of Thornton Real Estate Group over the past 14 months? Richard froze. What? Through various investment vehicles and shell companies, Apex now owns 52% of Thornton Real Estate Group. As of 9/17 this morning, we completed the final share purchases necessary for controlling interest. I watched the color drain from Richard's face. "That's impossible," he whispered. "I would have seen it. My board would have noticed." "Your board was negotiating with 8 different investment groups. They had no idea they were all ultimately owned by Apex. We were very careful." Richard was shaking. You can't take my company." "I already did," I said calmly. "You came here to buy my struggling startup and fire me. Instead, you walked into a boardroom meeting where I'm about to fire you." Vanessa looked like she might be sick. "Richard, tell me this isn't real." One of Richard's attorneys was frantically scrolling through documents on his tablet. "It's real. The share purchases are documented. They have controlling interest." I stood up and walked to the window. Here's what's going to happen. Effective immediately, Richard Thornton is removed as CEO of Thornton Real Estate Group. The board will vote to install Apex's chosen leadership, which won't be you, Richard. "You can't do this." "I can, and I am. Thornton Real Estate Group will be restructured as a subsidiary of Apex Ventures. Your personal employment contract will be terminated per the change of control provisions. You'll receive your contractual severance." Patricia slid another document across the table. "This is the severance package, $2.5 million, paid out over 2 years. Richard had borrowed heavily against his company's value. I knew from our due diligence that he had significant personal debt secured against company shares. Your company shares are now worth approximately 30% less under the new structure," I continued. "The properties you own through company assets, including your primary residence, are technically owned by the company, which Apex now controls." Vanessa grabbed my arm. "Marcus, please, we didn't know." I pulled away. "You came here to humiliate me, to buy my company for a fraction of its value and fire me in person. You wanted to crush my spirit." "I'm sorry." "No, you're not. You're sorry you failed." I looked at Richard. "You have 30 days to vacate the company residence. After that, it will be reassigned to new leadership." "That's our home," Vanessa whispered. "That's a corporate asset that you no longer have rights to." I turned to my security team, who'd been standing quietly by the door. "Please escort Mr. Thornton and Ms. Thornton out of the building. They're not authorized to be here." Security walked them out. Vanessa was crying. Richard was on his phone, probably calling his lawyer. My team started packing up the conference room. "Was that necessary?" Patricia asked me quietly. "Yes," I said. "They came here to destroy me. They deserve to understand what real power looks like. They're going to fight this. Let them. The acquisition is legal, documented, and airtight. They have no case." Over the next few weeks, Richard tried to contest the takeover. His lawyers filed complaints. He gave interviews claiming corporate malfeasance. None of it worked. The acquisition was completely legal. Thornton Real Estate Group was restructured under new leadership. The company actually performed better without Richard's ego-driven decision-making. Vanessa divorced Richard 6 months later. Turns out she was only interested in him for his money. When that disappeared, so did she. Last I heard, she's working in marketing somewhere, living in a rented apartment. Richard bounced around different ventures, never regaining his former success. As for me, Apex Ventures continued growing. We are now managing a portfolio worth over $500 million. I still work out of the Innovate Labs warehouse sometimes, jeans and a hoodie, hands-on with the teams. Because the most powerful people don't need to look powerful, they just need to be. The lesson here isn't destroy your enemies, it's never underestimate someone based on appearance. Vanessa saw a warehouse office and assumed I was struggling. Richard saw a small startup and assumed it was vulnerable. They never did their due diligence, never researched the corporate structure. never considered that what they saw might not be the full picture. That assumption cost them everything. Thanks for watching. If you've ever been underestimated and proved them wrong, drop a comment below. Hit subscribe for more stories about business strategy, corporate revenge, and building real power quietly. And remember, the person in the warehouse might own the entire block. See you next time.